Hi, Gary here with Imagine the Victory, and today we're going to take a look at my Kagero deck. I like to call it Neo Dote. So, start off, starter, Red Pulse Dracokid. Pretty much best starter right now for Kagero. Used to be Conroe, but Conroe got banned, so Conroe's Gonro. So might as well search for your grade 3s. Start with that. Then next into triggers, I love to sack people with crits. So you will see me running 12 crits. So we start, play set of Tahrs, play set of Red Pulse Blue Ray Dracokids, and then the new Demonic Dragon Mage. So, 12 crits. Because sacking the crap out of people is awesome. And then, for the rest of your triggers, just to round them out, got 4 heals, 2 and 2 of the nice Dragon Dancer. Because you gotta put a little bit of swag in your deck, gotta make it look nice. Then you're not just beating people, you're swagging all over their faces too. So now let's get into the grade 1s. Obviously 4 Sentinels, but what I did was going 3 Perfect Guards, 1 Quintet Wall. And with the 3 Perfect Guards, you get the consistency of having Perfect Guards in your deck, so when you need them, they're usually there for you. And then with the Quintet Wall, you get the added bonus of being able to guard that giant column, or just an extra thing that usually take 2 or more cards with just the 1 in a counterblast. And then next up we have a full playset of Eternal Bringer Griffons. With that, it's essential for the deck. It gets the whole Dragonic Overlord engine running and searches out your breakride, because you want to be breakriding with this deck every game. Next up, 2 Lizard Soldier Grom, Damage Flipper. Pretty necessary, because this deck is very counterblast heavy, and there really isn't that much room for a Bellicosity Dragon. And I find Lizard Soldier Grom to be better than Bellicosity, just because of the fact that it's not an on-hit effect. Makes it easier to use, guaranteed unflip damage. The only downside to it is if you ride it as your initial grade 1, you can just get shit stomped right away, but you just need to be careful about doing that. And then next up, hopefully your grade 1 ride target, or Vanguard booster after cross ride, 3 Embodiment of Armor Bahr. 8k vanilla. I used to run Violence Horn Dragon, but Violence Horn Dragon just can't make the columns that are needed behind the Vanguard, because you have a 13k Vanguard and you have your 7k booster behind it. You're only hitting 20. Then, like, 20 is the magic number for nothing, but you get that 1 extra k of power, you're hitting 21 against 11k bodies. That's minimum 15k to guard. And then it just makes it easier for all your triggers to get past. So it makes people pay for not running cross rides, and especially going into the Legion meta, where there aren't really that many Legion cross rides. It's pretty good for getting those numbers on their Vanguards. So now into the grade 2s, I run 4 Burning Horn Dragons, pretty essential. We got a 9 to 12 attacker for Overlord, and your grade 3 is always going to be an Overlord, so why not? Then next up, I also run 4 Dragonic Burnout. With the 4 Dragonic Burnouts, you're retiring stuff on your opponent's field, and you're recycling your dotes, and that's incredibly important. So, and it also means that you can discard cards, so you can use your Perfect Guards and your Quintet Walls a little more wildly, I guess, without having to think so much of consequences for it. Alright, and next up in the deck is 3 Berserk Dragons. So with the 3 Berserk Dragons, It's pretty much your grade 2 tech spot. A lot of people like to put in either the 10k vanilla or Bellicosity Dragon. So either you get damage on flipping or you get numbers. But we already have the Groms in there for damage on flipping. And as far as numbers go, you put a 7k behind a 9, you're hitting 16. And that's a perfect number for 11k bodies, especially going into Legion meta these days. 11k bodies are pretty much going to be the norm. So you might as well just be hitting 16. Unless they cross-ride on you, but with Berserk Dragon, you're also picking off things on their field. So you're minusing them every time you play it. So that's wonderful as well. And then next up, probably the key card of the deck. And I only run 2 just because it's so searchable. Because you have your Red Pulse Dracokid and you have your Eternal Bringer Griffons. 2 Dragonic Overlord breakrides. So, searchable as hell. There's not really much else to say there. Most people run more. I like to run less. Because I like to get my big power cards out. So if I can ditch one power card to find one of these guys, and then this way you're not break riding on break rides, you're break riding your like your aces on top of your break rides, leading into giant wombo combos, which is, it's just wonderful once you get the extra attacks in and you start pulling crits and they just die. They just get beat. So next up is pretty much the card you want to win the game with. Is 3 Dragonic Overlord the Rebirth. And with the 3 Rebirths, you either want to break ride them, or you want to play them on top of Dote in the endgame. Because you lock your whole field, you get those 2-3 attacks. And by then, you'll be hitting them for 23, they'll have less cards in their hand, and less available resources to guard. And then, the namesake, I've been running it since it almost came out. Dragonic Overlord The End. Unfortunately, not the new SP, original RRR version. But with Dragonic Overlord The End, you always have that mid-game factor. You have the mid-game mind games you can play. So if they have a grade 2 or a grade 1 that they put in the rear guard and it's in the front column, you swing at it with Dote, and they don't know whether you're going to stand Dote or not. There's like, do I waste my guarding right now? Or do I let it hit, let them stand? They don't know. So it adds that to the mid-game. And as well, it's not bad to break ride Dote either, because you still get the cross ride body. Unfortunately, you have to use the break ride skill first, so you swing for the rear guard, you use the break ride skill, but then it's up to you with whatever else you want to do. You can play your typical Dote mind games. You can attack their rear guard, and maybe because like, who drops a PG on a rear guard? Sometimes they might. It's Dote swinging for it. If they waste a PG on their rear guard, and then let's say you pull a crit, throw it on one of your rears, swing for their van, and they're less likely to be able to guard it. So, just little things like that makes Dote still a wonderful card to play, and not many people really look towards it, because everybody's just running Rebirth. Everybody, like the big Rebirth build that I've been seeing is Overlord, like breakride Overlord, Rebirth, and like 2 tech novels. And I thought about playing tech novels, but I pretty much have a similar kind of version going on myself, but with Rebirth taking the place of that tech novel, and Dote kind of being in the place of Rebirth, and then breakride as per usual. But yeah, pretty much this whole deck abuses Dote, recycles Dote, searches that Overlord, so you cross ride probably about 90% of the time. Go into a big tournament, you're going to cross ride almost every game. So either you fetch it out with your Red Pulse Dracokid, or you fetch it out with your Eternal Bringer Griffon, and either way you're solid. So you have that 13k body, great for defense, great for attacking. Best case scenario, get that Bahr behind it, and then swing for 21 every time. It's wonderful. And then, hell, get it behind Rebirth, you're swinging for 31 just on Rebirth's limit break. So, Alright, so later on the channel, I'm going to be looking to play around with this deck on card fight area, take it up against the Legion meta, basically, and see how we do. And hopefully I'll be able to upload that for you as well, and it'll be wonderful. So this is Gary signing off for Imagine the Victory. Have a good day and happy holidays.